Where's the bang bang, Preston? Come on.
I can't breathe.
Pub Sports Radio. Come find us in Southtown 101. Subscribe on YouTube and all platforms where podcasts are found.
Boom. We are live, baby, live. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. It's Tuesday, February 15th, Max. How's your day going? How you rolling? We got a great slate of basketball today. Kind of tricky, I think. So maybe some landmines today, as we were talking in the back. But I want to know how last night went for you. I'll go over mine real quick before I throw it to you. Man, Virginia melted there at the end. That was tough to see. In the game till all 2 minutes left, and then they lose by 9. That hurt. And Dayton, Rhode Island stayed under, which was solid. That was about it. Tell me how your night went.
Yeah, last night I was definitely the best friend of the offshores. They were loving me. They were loving all my action. Gus wasn't. I got a little bit back from him. So obviously serving it to that son of a bitch always makes a guy feel good. And I'll tell you this, I'm excited to be here on Pub Sports Radio with you, with the pubbers. Maybe we're going to have someone step up to the plate and man up and do a shoey and get paid for it also. Where else can you go on the fucking internet to get that kind of shit except from Pub Sports Radio and, of course, the leader who leads Pub Sports Radio, Mr. Jeff Slaughter.
Shout out to Slaughter. Yeah, we'll see if anyone not bad. I know you got to get a shoe, but you can get a new shoe, a clean shoe.
Or you can come, Conor, or you can come super prepared with plastic lining in the shoe. So you're just going to lick it in, and you don't even have to worry about having a little bit of fabric in your freaking beer.
Look at this guy. I was thinking the same fucking thing. There you go. Yeah. And pouring ice, real chilled one. Ice cold beer down the hatch, 50 spot. We'll see if anyone will do it today at the end. We have it or not. But shout out to the chat. I'll hit all you guys in just a minute. I appreciate you guys, as I say, the best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. But first, as we get to this solid slate here today, Max, I want you to run through all the sides in total, the lines that have moved from last night to all the way to right now, 5 Eastern. Both sides and totals. Hit me with it.
Yeah, listen, we got in some definite slight movement towards the under in the Akron Western Michigan game, going from 130 to as low as 128.5. And aside from that, in the early games, we've only seen a little half-point movement here and there, nothing to really make you reevaluate what your numbers are telling you. And I think that when we go down the slate, it's important to see, like Conor said, this is a card with tons of landmines. And looking at that Miami-Ohio game, seeing Ohio go from a 12-point favorite to 10.5 is a little perplexing, considering Miami-Ohio probably doesn't have Delonte Brown, and we've seen what a difference maker he is on all elements of the court for that team. I think that when we go down the board, there really isn't a lot of action until we get to maybe South Florida and Tulane, where very strangely we've seen the number go from 129.5 to as high as 131. No, it's only 1.5 points, but with the South Florida game, that must mean that South Florida may have a chance against Tulane. They may get those extra possessions to negate some of their inefficiencies when it comes to shooting the basketball. When I cruise down the slate, Conor, I just really don't see a lot of action until I get to that Duke-Wake Forest game. And with Wake Forest, seeing that line open up at 11 and be down to 9.5 right now is interesting, considering Wake has had probably the most problems dealing with this Duke team. With the total went up from 147.5 to 150. That's an interesting move in itself also, because if Wake Forest can't get that dribble drive penetration through some of Duke's interior defense, then are they going to become just a magnificent swan diving 3-point shooting team? I'm not sure about that. So real interesting game from that standpoint. And I think that going down, looking at those Clemson Tigers going up against Florida State tonight, we've seen that total drop from 138.5 down to as low as 135.5. Very interesting move in my mind. I haven't seen any move in the Hofstra Elon total that's worth mentioning, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen something happen there. Obviously we look at the later games and we have to stop and talk about that Villanova Providence game. We've seen that total go from 130.5 up to as high as 132.5. And in a defensive game, it's going to be a little difficult for them to get there. When we do look at the Missouri Valley Conference, Connor, I do have to point out Indiana State and Missouri State went from a 141.5 total to as high as 144. And in most Missouri State home games, where a lot of people, including myself, projected them to be higher scoring, it's been the actual opposite. So interesting line move there. Wonder if somebody's out. I definitely have to mention the Minnesota-Ohio State total that opened at 140.5 and is now as low as 137.5. At 138.5, if you can still get it, that would be my threshold number on that spot. And I think that looking at some of the later games, some of the West Coast games, and looking at the New Mexico, Wyoming total, from that going from 150 to as high as 153 is an interesting move, but maybe a move that can backfire. Wyoming obviously can go either tempo, and New Mexico, does rely on that guard-oriented offense to score. Aside from that, Connor, I don't think that there's really a ton of line moves when it comes to some of these totals or spreads in these late games. And it's really just been a card that's really stayed really put the whole day. So very surprising and makes it that much more difficult to attack without being able to do a little steam chasing at times.
Yes, but I can't wait to talk about these games today for sure. Because a lot of them can go either way. But we got to give a shout out right before I get to your games, Max. Give a shout out to the chat. Shout out to Mike Urbalina, my guy in your Cab. Shout out to Cab, killing it, my guy. Great first half better too. Shout out to him. He's doing good work. Oki, Christopher Comentini, good to see you. Chris Clark, Paulie Walnuts, Ryan, Nasty Nate, Matt Rogers, Lee, what's up? Bill, Ron Lofton, good to see you. Glad you won. Trey, the parlay. You got the Ace Ventura going on, Max, today? Everyone's putting
Yeah, I tried something different with my hair, but I probably won't try it again tomorrow.
The devil horns. Pet dick. Res Mob, Tori Cooker, Banana and Grapes, AJ, J Row, what's up? TCATL. Hell yeah, Nathan Cerna, Rodney Barton, my guy, great to see you. Jeffrey in here. Mark Schillingberg, I hope you're feeling better, my man. Jessica Bruce, Brad Summersail, Gerald Jones, Warren Anderson. Good to see everybody in here. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like button. That's all I ask for. Max maybe wants a few other things, and we could get into that later. But right away, Max, let's get into your games. Let's get right to it. Your first one here, Buffalo versus Bowling Green. This total here is it's been bounced around, Max, from either 164, to 165, and onward. It's 4.5 some places, 5 as well. What do you like here, Buffalo Bowling Green?
Yeah, I think that Buffalo's a terrible freaking matchup for Bowling Green with their ability to rebound the basketball and their dribble drivers from the backcourt. It just makes Bowling Green's defense look that much worse. Regardless of if Daquan Plowden and Joe Reese are in the lineup, it just doesn't seem to be translating to them getting stops at any point in games. I like the experience of Ronaldo Segu and Maceo Jack for Buffalo, but with Josh Mumbala and Jonathan Williams, these guys are capable of putting up some big numbers and not needing to go deep into the bench. With Daquan Plowden, while he is undersized, he's a guy that can guard he can guard a 2, he can guard a 5. So you're going to have to put a body on him, and he's a guy that can pick up some fouls early. I think from the backcourt, you have a bunch of slashers when we're talking about Brenton Mills and Samari Curtis, but both guys that can hit the mid-range jumper. I think that at the end of the day, though, matchups make these types of games at this point in conference tournament play. And while I do like Buffalo in this spot, I have to be looking towards them full game more so than first half. Buffalo is one of those teams that really turn it on in the second half, and on the road that's going to be very important because with Bowling Green, if they are getting off their shots, they're a team that gets to the free throw line a ton, and you're going to have to put a body on them. And if Buffalo gets into foul trouble, it's going to be difficult for them to do that. But I think Buffalo, because of their rebounding, because of their experience in the backcourt, and based off my betting model, I like the fact that Buffalo's not a 10-point favorite here. I think that they can really fuck with their eyes open here.
Yeah, and all I have to say is good luck if you take the under. I mean, this is a shitload of points, but I don't know how both teams don't at least get to 80. So you're right there, and this number's right at 164.5, 165. So should be points, but go ahead.
And it's almost 75% of Bowling Green games go over, and we've seen a bunch of them lined in this point range of gun.
And all it might take is maybe one team scoring 75 today or 72 to keep it under, but I think the line's spot on, and there should be a shit ton of points. All right, Max, let's get to your second one here. Utah State, San Diego State. This line's 5 now. Most everywhere there's 4.5s out there as well. This total's moved up to 129.5. What do you like here? Can San Diego State get it done at home?
I think that this is an interesting spot for Utah State's front court. You know, when you have the versatility of Trevian Doris, Justin Bean, and of course Brandon Horvat, guys that can run the floor, defend the rim, and really dominate your offensive scheme, I think that's what you really need to do. You need to be able to pound it inside. You got to really take San Diego State out of their comfort zone. And I think going on the road has been something that we've seen Utah State be able to do over and over again. They've been a very good starting team early on. They are going to give you a real proper impression of if they can actually win the game early. And I think that in this situation, it's just a line where I can't ignore. I have to get on Utah State. I have to get on Utah State in this game involved with the total. I think that San Diego State's going to be forced to score. And the way that we've seen them score and pick up their scoring in the second half at home and recently in all their games, that is a big difference. You know, we're seeing them step up their offensive output by close to 10 points. If they do that in this game, Utah State is going to have to freaking help this game get over. Otherwise, they're going to get run over. I think at the end of the day, with Justin Bean on the other side, I don't think that Matt Bradley can go bucket for bucket with him because of how they score differently. I think with 3-point shooting and free throw shooting, Utah State's not going to leave points at the line. I think that this is a lot of over basketball. I hate to say it. And I think that Utah State as a first half underdog on the spread is definitely the way to go to at least start before you start live betting this game.
Yeah, we'll see after that horrible game against Nevada, you know, can Utah State have a better shooting night? Because that was pretty awful. After they were playing pretty good basketball up until that point. That's a fascinating game tonight there. Yeah.
And don't forget, Conor, this team handled San Diego State at home when they played earlier this season. So there's definitely a big revenge factor for San Diego State, and I think that they're going to have to score to get that revenge. And I'm just not sure that they're going to be able to do it early more so than they can do it late.
All righty, excellent breakdown. All right, let's get to your next one here. Akron, Western Michigan. There are a few 8.5s out here. We have a few 9s for Akron here, Max. This total's right around 128.5, 129. What do you like here, Akron, Western Michigan?
Yeah, listen, I think that with this game, I want to see points. I like the fact that Western Michigan obviously is at their most healthiest right now, aside from freaking Titus Wright. But when you have Lamar Norman on the other side, like he was able to last time out, he's capable of giving you a big offensive game to help you keep it close at the very least. I think that when you look at this total, though, it's all about what you're going to get early on in the first half. With Akron on the road, there have been instances where their defense shows up, but there's also been instances where their defense doesn't show up. And at this total, you don't really need them to give up more than freaking 60 points in this game to get it over. I think Western Michigan has the offensive firepower at home and that familiar freaking sight line to help them get through this game. And if both teams are able to hit maybe 14 or 15 threes combined and 20 free throws together, I think that we're going to be seeing an over in this game. So when I looked at my line, Connor, I have this game lined at 134.5. Obviously, we have a bunch of value based off of that line. And I think that with Western Michigan at 59.5 as a team total, how can you not really like that number in this situation, even though Akron needs to keep on winning in order to get a bye in the MAC tournament?
Yeah. Are you surprised this line's come down so much?
I think that it's definitely not too suspect considering what we've seen Akron do offensively on the road. I just think that right now you're going to get a lot of extended basketball games with fouling and weird strategy by coaches, and that's going to lead towards points. So while I definitely would have taken this game under in early January or late December, in mid-February, I'm not going to do that.
Alrighty, excellent. Let's get to your next one here. Big game, Texas at Oklahoma. Texas laying 1 here. Obviously low total. Texas game versus Oklahoma. Basically 124.5 everywhere right now. Max has moved up just about a half point. That's it. What do you like here? Texas, Oklahoma.
I hate to freaking say it, but I like this goddamn first half over. I know that Oklahoma is probably the one that will be the one that keeps it under if it goes under, but what have we seen from this Texas team on the road over and over again versus Texas Tech, versus Baylor? You know, obviously these two teams are not the same, but I do think Oklahoma is going to have to freaking reach into their bridges and freaking put up 70 points in this game to win. And if they do, obviously this total's going over. And I think that when we look at the number and we're playing the number as much as we want to talk about the teams, if I get under 60 with a Texas road game, pretty much regardless of the opponent, I'm going to take the first half over at the very least and then lie bet from there. This game is no different. And I think that when you look at the side, it's a Red River rivalry game. It's a big game to both programs. Expect the unexpected, and that means points for me when it comes to these two programs.
Yeah, should be a good one. That's one of these ones tonight. Just I think it's a good one to watch. For me there. Shout out to the chat here. THC Rizza, G Martinez, Mark Stella, Brian, what's doing? Ninja 13, Bob Taylor. Ty Washington we'll get to that later, but yeah, that's still a question mark. Someone mentioned, Bradley is in, so I don't know where you heard that. The Aztecs have a few other injuries, but their main guys, and especially Bradley, he's a go.
Yeah, Bradley's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. So, but Washington, I think, is going to be game time decision later. All right, Max, let's get to your last one here before we get to mine and get to the rest here. Northern Iowa. Laying 4 here versus Illinois State. This total is 143, basically and a half everywhere. What do you like here?
Yeah, listen, I think that it's a pretty simple spot for me. You know, Northern Iowa needs a win. Northern Iowa's played some freaking juggernauts, and now they're playing this Illinois State team that has Cy Chapman, Howard Fleming, possibly not in the lineup. I do think Fleming went last time, so I'm not sure if that's accurate right now. I'm reading some lineup info, but the difference is, you know, Coach Mullins has been fired. So I just don't know how the players are going to come out after that. We've seen coaches be celebrated for their firings, and then we've seen players disagree with a coach being fired. I think that this is a situation where the coach is being fired, and it's not because the players want him gone. And I think that that's going to work out negatively towards them tonight. I think Northern Iowa, coming off that destruction that they took against Loyola Chicago, where their defense just was open like a hooker's legs, I think that it's just going to be freaking time to get back to business. You know, you have Noah Carter and Nate Heisey to provide provide complementary scoring to AJ Green. And with Austin Fife getting healthier, now you have a natural 5-man that can really give you some good rim protection if he can stay out of foul trouble and get on the floor and be productive. I think that Northern Iowa puts a freaking dent into Illinois State's head, and I'm perfectly fine laying up to 6.5 with them.
Okay. Yeah, they've been pretty good to me as of late. Even laying numbers, Max, they've got the job done. So I don't blame you for laying it there in that spot. I would as well. Kind of a rare favorites on the road, as you like to say. I don't love to take a lot, but there's certain ones on every day's card that there's always a few for me that's out there that I definitely like. Alrighty, great breakdown, Max. Let's get to my games, and then with the commercials, get back to all the rest that everyone wants to talk about. My first one starts here in, 40 minutes or so. Kent State versus Toledo. Toledo is laying 8.5 here. This total is 145.5. This is simple, Max. It's the over. You can go team total as well with Toledo. I think it's a solid play as well. I think it's 76.5, 77.5, right around there. 7-1 to the over its last 8, 10-3 its last 13. Now, Kent State plays great defense. This is more of an under team. That's why we have this at 145 here, this total. Their last meeting, they won 66-63. Very good game. Toledo did not shoot the ball well. They're back here at home. I think they shoot it better. I think they get to 80 or maybe a little more. How about the Northern Illinois? Obviously a horrible team. Totally different team that doesn't play defense. 172. That was 144 on the weekend. Kent State plays better defense. I just got a second time around. I think we get over. I think this one, Toledo's in the 80s, and I think Kent State's in the 70s. I just hope we get over this total. What do you like here? Toledo, Kent State.
Yeah, I think that the first time around, we saw that both teams just really couldn't score at the rim versus each other. I do think that tonight we see a different freaking strategy used by both coaches. And I think that getting off to a good start on the road has to be the first and foremost, most important thing for Kent State. We've seen when Sincere Carey and Giovanni Santiago are hitting shots in the same game. This is a very dangerous freaking backcourt. And we've seen multiple lineups and different guys stepping up in the front court. I think that this is a big game for Kent State, and if they can get out to an early lead at halftime, I wouldn't be surprised. But with the way that Toledo needs to get back on the horse in this game, I definitely think that we're going to see them fuck with their eyes open a little bit. Listen, when you got this type of guard play, you just need a 3D difference maker, and Raheem Moss can be that guy for Toledo. If he is tonight, then this could be a nice game for Rocket fans. If not, could be an ass clincher.
Yeah, and hey, Toledo's been unreal. This number all year, Max. Where last year they got me a lot of times. They win by 7 and stuff like that. Kent State got them. Is this too many points? It's interesting. I wanted doubles to play Kent State here to even look at them. So, but I think they could cover. I think the game could be close. Just give me some goddamn points. All right, let's get to my next one. Iona versus St. Peter's. This one's 4.5. Iona's favored by 4.5 on the road. Total 134. These teams met just a while ago. 85-77. Max, St. Peter's was the team playing well until the other day at home versus Rider. I'm hoping for a bounce back in their play. They're here at home, getting 4.5. They're not going to score 49 again, even though they struggle to score at times, which can be a problem. But they play great defense. And being at home here, I think they'll be jacked up. They played with Iona, like we said. That was an 8-point loss. This is a heavy lean for me. I haven't bet it, but I lean to St. Peter's here. As long as they defend, and I think more shots will drop today after that horrible Rider outing, I lean St. Peter's here, getting the 4.5 points. What do you like here?
Yeah, I think that with Iona, this could be a little bit of a soft number for them. I would have thought that this number would have been in the 6.5 to 7.5 range for St. Pete's. Then they become a lot more attractive, but it's hard to deny how St. Peter's offense has been able to put up and put out at home. I think that obviously you're gonna need some non-basketball factors to be in your favor, including the crowd. I don't expect them to have trouble packing the gym tonight with Iona in town. However, Iona is going to need some things to work out for them, and that's getting something from Nelly Jr. Joseph. In this game tonight, he is very important going up against that St. Pete's front court, which is very physical and does a good job on the glass. I think that if you get that type of performance from Nelly Jr. Joseph in particular, it just makes everything else that much easier. You have good guards that are strong, physical, and big that can get to where they want on the court. And what does St. Pete's have? A bunch of undersized guards. So it's an interesting matchup, but it just feels like Iona has a soft number here at 4.5. But I'll probably stay off of it because you like the other side.
Yeah, I've kind of heard that, and I thought that a little bit looking at this. I just see a better game with St. Peter's. I thought they were playing pretty good until that bad. They laid an egg at home, versus Ryder 58-49. I watched some of that game too. And that's they got to be in the 60s probably to cover this number or win. I got to think. They don't want to get up and down with Iona. There could be problems there because they can turn the ball over a lot. So should be interesting. I lean to the dog here, though, in that one. All right, let's get to my last one. Tulane, -3.5 at South Florida. This total's 130. This one's simple for me, Max. I wanted 130 in the 130s. I play the under. I'm in the 130s. I know Tulane. Temple just played a game way in the over. I don't think they shoot the ball that well. South Florida at home will dictate the pace. This team is so slow, so horrible. Every offensive category is 350 and below, 330, efficiency, pace, yada, yada. I don't think they break 55 tonight. So even if Tulane gets 65, this number just was too high for me. I'll take the shot here and the chance. Give me the under. Tulane, South Florida. What do you like here?
Yeah, listen, I think that this is a real interesting spot considering that the number went north instead of south. That definitely gives me some belief that maybe South Florida could be a live dog tonight. They've won. They're 6-3 at home. They've won some games in conference at home. This definitely seems like a spot where it just seems too easy to take the other side with Tulane, where Tulane, from an offensive perspective, it's hard not to like what they have. Jalen Cook and Jalen Forbes just on their own could probably outscore Javon Green and Caleb Murphy 9 out of 10 times. But this could be that freaking 1 out of 10 times that they don't. And that's why it just has trap written all over me. I keep on thinking back to the Temple game, and I don't really have a significant edge on the spread with my numbers. So I think in this situation, the safest thing for me to do is to live bet the game and tail Conor on the under.
I just think there's a little aggression. Tulane's gone over 4 straight, Max, and South Florida's gone over a couple in a row, 124 numbers, and they scored 69, I think, against Wichita. I just don't see it again at home where they want to be in a rock fight to win it and it to be tight. So when I saw the 130, I just had to pull the trigger on the under. All right, that is my games. Shout out to the chat here. Slaughter goes, he's calling all beer drinkers. Chance to shine. $50 per Shoei. One per person, because we don't promote binge drinking here at Pub Sports Radio. Just one. We don't promote binge. Do it on stream. You get paid. There you go. There you go. All right, Max. That's our games. We'll be right back. Everyone, give me your questions on any game you want to talk about, because if you don't, we'll probably just hit it at the end, rapid fire with a lean. So give us the games you have questions on right now. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors. Boom. If you're in the San Antonio area, hit up Southtown 101. We will be there March 24th through the 31st. How about Palooza? Come join us if you're in the area for that week. A lot of us will be there. There'll be a shit ton of us there. Go to mybookie.ag at promo code PubSports. Use the Bitcoin, transfer that real quick. Put 1,000. They match you with the 1,000 right away. Hit promo code PubSports. And last, our product Manscaped. Best in the game, Lawnmower 4.0. Use it anywhere, everywhere, the shower, in the woods, like Nicky Fish Tanks would say, which it's got a flashlight, as he says. It's got a light on it. But don't just stop there. Get the whole kit that comes with the ball deodorant, the whole thing. It's a great deal. It's like $60 or something. Get 20% off promo code PubSports. All right, let's get to the rest of the games here, Max. Let's start out. I think somebody had one first. James S. An interesting game. Hofstra 6.5 versus Elon. This total's 142.5. Elon's not been very good, Max, of late, but his team plays better basketball at home. Tricky spot here for Hofstra, who's had at times a hard time covering a number like this. What do you think here?
Yeah, listen, I think that with Elon, you nailed it right on the head. While this team definitely can D up, this is also a team that gets off to really good starts at home. When I look at their first half numbers, which is the way that I would be attacking this game, I think that Elon as a first half underdog, whether on the spread or the money line, is the safest way for me to play this game. I think that with them at home, we see a very confident three-point shooting team, a team that can hit 80% of their free throws, and a team that doesn't need to beat you on the offensive glass because they're making jump shots by making the extra pass. Ball facilitation is key for Elon. Selfishness and selflessness is going to be what determines what they do, because let's be brutally honest, they have not looked good recently. This is a team that could get blown out of the water, but I'm going to be going with what works for me, and that's Elon first half on the spread.
Yeah, it's a good shot with the dog there in that spot. They have played a lot better at home, and you mentioned even in the first half. So Hofstra the better team, but I'd watch out there tonight. All right, Max, let's touch. They wanted to know the Arkansas-Missouri total 138. There's even 137.5 out there now. And why don't we just touch on the side? It's 7.5. Arkansas on the road here. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, listen, I don't know why this number went down, but I'm grateful for it because I'll be on the over. I think that when we look at some of the Missouri injuries, I don't really think that they're difference makers. I think that if it was Amari Davis or freaking Javon Pickett again, that would be a big deal, even Kobe Brown. But I think that this is a group that can have some good games at home. We've seen it over and over again. And while Arkansas is going to have the best big man on the floor in Jalen Williams and probably the best guard in JT Note, we know that JT Note, what does he struggle with? Picking up early fouls. So what I did watch Greg Musselman talk about in one of his press conferences, either it was today or yesterday, I can't remember, but JT Note has been literally freaking taking a sock, holding it on his head from both hands, and then playing defense in practice without using his hands, which is something that he needs to work on because he is a frequent reacher inner. And you don't want to be that if you're JD Note and you can score 18 points a game. I think in this game, though, it's a simple thing for me. I like how this Missouri team plays in this number range, in this role. I think defense obviously is definitely paramount for them not to get blown out, but I do think that teams make really good halftime adjustments against Missouri. So for me, if Missouri can get this game in their favor by halftime, and they're not losing by 10 or more points, I think that they have a great chance of covering it. 3-point shooting is not important for them. Volume, free throw shooting, and offensive rebounds are. I think Missouri gets them both against Arkansas tonight.
Yeah, we know these were all kids that came, like we talked about all year, Max, transfers and everything. But as the year's gone on, they've played better basketball as they kind of gelled together and come around. So, yeah, Arkansas might win there, but I'd be leery of the cover in that one. Justin T says, I don't even know if you want to talk about Indiana State, Max, but plus 550 money line seems pretty wide, no? They're playing Missouri State, by the way.
I know, Connor. I think that with Missouri State, like I've said earlier in the show when we talked about the line movement, Missouri State's playing some very defensive basketball at home. And even though we haven't really seen it that much lately on the road, I think that we do see it in this game tonight. I think that Indiana State, now that they're healthy with Cooper Neese and Cam Henry in the lineup, that is exactly the formula and recipe that you need for a type of underdog like this. I personally won't be backing Indiana State on the money line, but I won't be taking Missouri State at this spread now that Indiana State could be possibly live. I didn't even really think about it from that perspective. I just like the fact that they're finally getting healthy at the right time of year, where they've had literally injuries at every point in the season. So could be a sneaky dog spot in that spot, and an even more freaking brass balled money line spot. So hope that you fucking cash.
Yeah, it's a huge number. This is an interesting game for Ryan. I looked at this game a lot. This team can score, but Irvine loves it low, Max. UC Irvine total too high. They're also laying 5 here on the road at UC San Diego. Total's moved up a couple points to 134.5. What do you like here?
Yeah, this is just a spot where UC San Diego may have got the win last time out against UC Riverside, but we've seen UC Riverside struggle offensively and be able to guard the 3-point line. One of those nights that they weren't able to results in a game like that. I think that this is a good situation to not fall in love with what we just saw from this UC San Diego team. I do like the fact that they have multiple freaking double-digit scores support Tony Rokic, and I do like the fact that this team can hit their free throws. They are not going to leave a ton of free throws at the line, but the 3-point shot has been a bit of an issue. I think that with freaking Kosikowski and freaking Jake Killingsworth, you do get a little more consistency from it, but you got to get the shots, and UC Irvine has to take away the 3-point shot tonight in order to make that happen. I think that with UC Irvine, this has been under basketball, and when we see a number in the 130s, it's really hard not to like it. This is the best 3-point defense in the nation. This is one of the best inside the arc, high percentage shot defense. Also, you just don't score easy buckets versus this team, and what I've knocked on them for probably 2 years now is not having that dependable, consistent offensive score. Now with Isaiah Lee and Dawson Baker, JC Butler, all these guys have matured, and you see the confidence oozing out on the floor. I think that they remind UC San Diego who the fuck they are, and while we normally would freaking step on an ant or shoot an anteater with a bow and arrow, I think that fucking UC Irvine rules tonight, and they get some good freaking gelato afterwards.
That's interesting, because I don't think this Irvine team is maybe as good as some of the years past. They play great defense, you're right. So this is tricky laying this. I look to San Diego here with the points, and I know this has moved up, and because this is the reason San Diego can score, but I'd only be on the under. I mean, goddamn, at 135, I mean, it's tough not to take. I know.
UC San Diego's had a ton of under games. We've seen it. I think that the last game was just a big offensive game. So
exactly,
they're
and it was
normally a team that plays in the 130s.
Yeah, I agree. And they played a few soft teams, if you look at their last 3 or 4 and got into the 80s. But when they play a team like Irvine, I think it can stay down the total and stay under. All righty, Max. Big one here, Wisconsin at Indiana. Indiana's laying 3 here at home. Total 132.5. Do you have a look here?
Yeah, I'll take a shot with Wisconsin first half, but I'll be quick to freaking bet Indiana live if they seem to be fucking them right in the mouth. There's something about this Badger team, and it's probably just Johnny Davis that just makes me want to back them. And in this game, most importantly, this is where they're going to miss Rob Finisi. And if Rob Finisi comes back, who's questionable with the ankle injury, I do think it provides the necessary boost for Indiana to figure out this game after 40 minutes and not make Mike Woodson lose more of the hair that he doesn't have. I think at the end of the day, Indiana has been a safer team in conference to be backing at these short numbers at home. They just got to get some good offensive production from guys like Miller Kopp from the 3-point line, Xavier Johnson, I don't even know. There's a bunch of different guys that can produce for this team. but you give them Rob Finisi back on the offense and defensive end, and that could be exactly what the doctor ordered for Indiana to get a nice win at home for Hoosier Nation here. But my numbers definitely like Wisconsin, at least first half, and I know a pretty fucking sharp guy also that's on them also, and that makes me feel more comfortable. And his name is Davy Cab.
Shout out, as I mentioned, Davy Cap earlier. He's doing great work. Providence, James County wants to know. Providence money line here. Do you like Providence? Obviously, Nova's 4.5-point favorites here, Max. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, I don't like anything in this game. I think that this is a game that I want Providence to win, but then I don't want Providence to win because I got a Villanova Big East freaking conference future. So I do want Villanova to win the game. From that aspect, but the way that Providence is having a season, even me as a UConn fan, I can freaking acknowledge how good this team is playing. And with Durham and his addition to the lineup and his ability to fucking speed things up when Jared Bynum and fucking Alan Breed have a tendency to slow it down at times, I think that is just an element that can really work out versus Villanova, team that is pretty soft up front. They don't create a ton of great offense for themselves. They need screens, they need cutters, they need that off-ball movement. And without that signature roller to the bucket, it forces Colin Gillespie to dribble and hold on to the ball more often. That plays into Providence's hand. I just think it's a real tough game both ways. If you gave me a free play, I'd probably take the dog at home because that's what's been freaking paying the bills. Yeah. But I do want them to lose the game because I got a conference future that needs them to.
Yeah, I'd have to take the dog at home as well, Max. They just keep winning. They had that bad blowout loss to Marquette. They just keep winning and winning and winning, and they're at home here. The Dunkin' Donut, that place should be rocking tonight with Villanova in town. And you talked about it. Nova still is great, but their worst struggles have been on the road all year long. So, they could go in and win, but yeah, free bet. No way I'm laying it with Nova tonight. All righty. Let's go to this one, Max. Bradley, Southern Illinois. Bradley's playing pretty good basketball. It's a pick 'em, or they're favored by 1 here. This total's low, 124. What do you like here?
Yeah, listen, I like Southern Illinois in this game. While Terry Roberts is such a difference maker and brings me such joy when I watch and I'm on his side, this number is just not right. It says SIU to me. If Bradley was a 3.5 or 4-point dog, then I'd be all over the Braves here. But in a win-loss situation with SIU at home and their ball movement from side to side, and then their very good freaking front court depth that they have, it could be an interesting night for Bradley. Ari Boya and Rink Moss are going to be going toe-to-toe, and it's going to be interesting to see who can win that battle. I think at the end of the day, though, the number just doesn't make sense to me except to take SIU here, and that's the way that I'm going. Now, Connor, before we get any further, I want to do my best bet right now because it is involving a 6 o'clock game, and okay. Obviously, we're going off the rails here, but let's just do it straight up. I like a 2-team parlay tonight. I want to take Longwood, who starts off in 15 minutes. I don't want to take them on the spread. So I'm using them in the money line, and then I'm going with Wyoming. Can Wyoming afford to lose this game? Can Wyoming have a slip up? Very possible in this spot. I say no to that. And I'm going to roll with Longwood and Wyoming on the money line at minus 122 for my best bet right now. I may have another one at the end of the show.
Yeah, that Longwood game is great to touch on, Max. I think they play better. I always get nervous with that number. They got it done in their last one. They won by 13 when I think it was at Upstate. High Point just has been playing well, and they can't score. I know Longwood can, but man, I like the under there in that spot a little bit at 135.5. I don't know if High Point can even score 60, but we'll see. Because some of these games between these two teams just stay dead under. I had that High Point Campbell over the weekend, and it was 108. So I would lean under if I had a free bet in that High Point Longwood game. All righty, Max, let's keep rolling. I also have the 3 o'clock game too. I might as well. I mean, I'll say it if we're just in case we go a minute or two over. I'm on the Kent State Toledo over 145.5 as well for one of my best bets. All right, Max, let's keep rolling though. Minnesota, Ohio State. Ohio State's laying 13. You talked about this totals come down a couple points to 138. What do you like here?
Yeah, I just think that I don't want to lay 13 with Ohio State, but I feel like it's the right way to play it. I'm just not going to get there. If I get anywhere with the game, it's the under if I can get 138.5. Aside from that, it's a pass spot for me.
Excellent. How about this one? A good game. Memphis versus Cincinnati. Memphis starting to win games. Covered a few. They're laying 3, though, on the road. This total's 142.5. What do you like in this one?
I hate myself for saying this because you guys know how I feel about Penny Hardaway, but I'm going to ride Memphis first half, and then I'm going to evaluate from there. I think that this is definitely a tricky game, like a lot of the games on this slate, and I think that at least taking the first half edge in the numbers is probably the best way to go about it, considering the fact that this Memphis team, is finally at its healthiest. They're playing some very good basketball on the defensive end, and that's where they needed to really shore shit up. I think that when you look at this team, yes, they still have the glaring weakness at certain positions with free throw shooting, but now you have a legitimate rotation of 8 or 9 contributors that you have on any nightly basis. Lester Quinones and DeAndre Williams are guys that can get their shots in different ways, and I think that you can always go old school and throw it to Durant in the post. I just don't see Cincinnati unless they have a brilliant defensive game plan where they're pressuring and they're really forcing Memphis to work hard for every shot, that Memphis doesn't find a way to at least be leading at halftime. So I feel dirty saying it, but I'm doing it, and I'm riding Memphis early. I will definitely have a look at Cincinnati based off the halftime numbers, but going off my first half numbers, it's Memphis or leave it alone. You're on mute, Big Show.
What's up, boys? Here to do the Shoei.
Oh, shoot.
Our own guy on the ones and twos has got to do it.
What's he drinking there? That's what we want to know.
Bush.
Oh, he's got some Bush in there.
Bush.
Nice
Bush.
colored can right there.
Oh my
Going
God.
into the shoe.
So much.
Looks like that
fucking
shoe has
fun.
been hunted in.
Yeah, so much fucking fun. This is ridiculous.
Oh, we know how the foam is. All right, Big Show,
we-
you can do it. We
maybe-
believe in you. Go,
Get
Show,
it.
go. Go, Show, go. Go, Show, go. Go, Show, go. Go, Show, go. Do it for the state of Michigan. Do it for Wolverine basketball. Fuck yeah.
We be pubbing.
There we go.
There we
That's how
go.
you kill a shoey. Do it for Wolverine basketball. That sucks. That was horrible on Saturday. Let's not speak of it anymore. Let's talk about Michigan State, though. -2.5 Max at Penn State. This total 130. So people are asked about in the chat. What do you like here? Michigan State, Penn State.
Yeah, this is a spot that's very tough either way. I think that it definitely has trap written all over it with Michigan State, but it's hard to deny that if Michigan State hits their jump shots, Penn State isn't going to be a match for them. I think from a guard personnel perspective, with this two-headed monster at the one for Michigan State is definitely critical to their success. And with their ability to freaking throw it down to a legitimate 7-footer always brings me a lot of good, warm feelings. I think that Michigan State on paper should win this game considerably easily than a lot of teams have struggled with this Penn State team. And if Penn State doesn't have one of their main defensive weapons in Greg Lee, it just puts that much more pressure on Seth Lundy and John Hart to stay on the floor and be effective on both ends. I think that Michigan State is the spot here. It's just hard for me to tell anybody else to get on it.
Yeah, tricky spot there. All right, let's touch on a couple of the big ones everyone wants to talk about, Max. Kentucky, Tennessee. Tennessee's laying 1.5, 2 here. This total's 140. I remember when these teams played, I had the under, and they scored 180 points, or I don't even know, more than that, about 3 weeks ago on that crazy Saturday. Every shot dropped. We talked about Washington might not play. A few of the injuries Kentucky has. Tennessee has been good at home and a good under team. What do you like here? Tennessee laying 1.5, 2, total 140.
Yeah, it disgusts me to say this, but I think that the Vols have a good chance of getting revenge tonight. Yeah, I want to slap myself. I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to leave.
Hey. I know.
I think it's possible. I
think it's possible too with them here at home. I don't love it. Kentucky's really good, and this is kind of a bad spot, and we'll see if Washington plays.
And they need Kellen Grady's 3-point shot. They get Kellen Grady putting up fucking 5 or 6 threes. That could be the difference right there. You got the best rebounder. You can beat them personnel wise, but with Ziegler, that kid's a difference maker. He flies under the radar for a lot of people, but it's a tough game, especially after you beat them so handily at home.
Yeah, and if Kentucky's just nailing shots, and when they do, these games will just fly over. But when they don't, and Tennessee can play great defense, I mean, I'd take to say I go under. Even that crazy game where they scored a shit ton of points, I think this one could be different. The total's too high, but we'll see. All right, let's get to this other one, big one we're going to get to before we'll probably go rapid fire, Max. Wake Forest, Duke. People want to talk about it here. Big one. 9.5. We've talked about, you mentioned it before, the struggle with Wake Forest. I had them at home catching 6 earlier against Duke, 6 or 7, and they lost, didn't cover. This has been their one problem, especially Duke the last couple of years with Forbes. Can they cover tonight? And what do you think about the total here at 150?
Yeah, I would have loved to get the over 147. I think that it's a first half over spot if Wake's going to have a chance, and it's going to stay under if Duke's going to freaking run them freaking wild. It's going to be interesting to see if they can score inside versus this Duke front court. And the more that they see AJ Griffin and Paolo Banchero on the floor without Mark Williams being there, the better it is for their offense. I just don't think that Wake has enough 3-point shooting to be able to score from the perimeter if they can't score inside.
Definitely. I think we've touched on everything. Obviously, Max, you have Wyoming money line. Still, do you think they can cover this number, the 5.5, 6?
Yeah, I do. I think that with Wyoming, this is a group that obviously can beat you at a multitude of different tempos, and with them having probably the best big man on the floor and the way that Hunter Maldonado runs this offense, I don't see why it shouldn't be a nice, easy route spot. But we see these games and these numbers all the time, and they somehow, for some reason, end up being a little more difficult than we projected. And that's one of the reasons why I want to use Wyoming in my money line parlay. I think that this is a number that if you gave me a free play, I would take, but I do think that the money line is a better add-on.
Alrighty, let's do one more, and then we'll rapid fire, Max. Florida, Texas A&M. It's just 1.5 here. So this totals 134.5. Do you like anything in this one?
No, I don't.
Me either. I'd have to go Texas A&M. I don't love it. This was a pass for me off the bat. Shout out to Arthur Meade Jr. Real deal, man, right here. $5 dono. Thank you so much for the donos. We need the donos. It keeps Pub Sports Radio pumping. So when we win, donate. Pub Sports Radio needs it. We need it. We love it when you guys donate. We appreciate it. And shout out to Big Show with that Shoei. What a man. Comes on here. It's like, fuck it. I'm going to fucking get a bush, slam it.
Fucking
great
quality.
Man.
Fucking quality.
Quality action show.
On
Love
the
it.
ones and twos, multitask, and still freaking downs a goddamn Shoei for all of our entertainment.
Yep.
Raymond. That's a team player right there, bud.
Just go back. We talked about Nova, Providence, in just rewind, and you'll get there. All right, let's go rapid fire, Max, before we get out of here.
Sure, bro. All right. Clemson, Florida State. I have to back Clemson. I don't like Florida State with these injury issues, but it is still Clemson versus Florida State.
Just, yeah, all those injuries, I don't want either in this one. I'd lean over.
Yeah, listen, Miami, Ohio without Delonte Brown is a different Miami, Ohio team. I think that Ohio team total and Ohio on the spread seems like a generous number tonight, especially considering it went down a point and a half.
Yeah, it's come down, but this is a pass for me. It's Ohio, but I'm not going to play it. No way.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to take Fordham in this situation. Darius Quisenberry with the knee injuries, Antonio Days left the team, and that just puts a lot of pressure on Kyle Rose and guys that I just don't want to rely on to keep a game close. I think that VCU with their pressure, Ace Baldwin, and having Vince Williams healthy in the lineup with the knee issue resolved is a big deal. I think that VCU rolls and under.
Yes, under here for me. VCU's played to overs a lot lately, but Fordham at home, Max, I got to get it. Goes back to, I think, under. I got to take the under there.
Sorry about that. I am all about Ole Miss in this game. I do think that they can win this game by double digits. South Carolina, they are freaking stingy. They are experienced. They are well coached by Frank Martin. I just think that this number says Ole Miss. So that's where I'm going.
Pass for me here.
Yeah, Elon first half.
Yeah, we talked about it. Dangerous spot. I think Elon's live, Max, first half. I even think full game. I'd be leery of laying that with Hofstra.
Yeah, I'm all about Sacred Heart in this game. They need this game very badly for NEC conference tournament seedings, excuse me.
Sacred Heart, you have to think they're over, but Merrimack game at this high, under 129.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be looking to back Northern Illinois on the road. I'd be looking at Ball State or passing on it.
Yeah, this was a pass for me. There's no way I could take Northern Illinois, even getting the 8.5. Lean over.
Yeah, I'm biased. I'm taking Liberty. I don't give a shit. If I got to donate $120, I got to donate $120.
Tricky. It's up to 8.5. I think Liberty wins, but I don't know if they cover.
God damn it, Conor. I do like the under in this game, and I do like Eastern Michigan.
This was a pass for me. No play.
Yeah, this is a pass for me. No play.
This one was ugly, too. I don't want anything to do with both these teams right now. You're not getting the edge anywhere, and nothing on the total. Yeah, pass.
I definitely want to take a shot with DePaul. I think that even though they're not going to have now Javon Johnson, they probably don't have Javon Freeman Liberty, and unless that changes, it makes it not the most popular play. But I do think Tony Stubblefield has his team playing well enough to win and beat this Butler team at home by 4 or more.
Yeah, they play their best basketball at home. DePaul, it's just you got to lay the 3.5.
Yeah, this is a big, brutal pass for me. I know that I should be on Colorado, but it is Pac-12, and I got burned, and I don't want to get burned again. I like not being burned.
Oregon State's dealing with a ton of injuries. Tough one. I don't know if they could score enough because initially I kind of lean over, but it's a pass. I think Colorado can go in there and win and cover, actually. I'd lean that way.
Yeah, this is a pass for me. I'm just not sure what to do on this game.
Yeah, 3.5. Lean TCU. Don't love it.
Last one.
Oh, yeah. I want to see Nevada have a very nice game. Bend San Jose State over like a folding chair. Put a freaking piece of freaking bacon on it, and then let someone's dog go and eat it. Okay? Nevada. Team total.
Yes, I'd stick with team total. Don't lay it. Be leery of that. I just rolled our team total exactly. All right, that is it, Max. We ripped through it. Shout out to the chat, the best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. We got to 100 likes, Max. We did it. Shout out to the chat for getting that done. Truth Teller, Nathan Cerna, Rem Most, UNLV 94, Polly Walnuts. What up, man? Jake Burns. Jake. Bunch of Jakes all the time in here. Shout out to the Jakes. Matty Ice. His taint play of the day, Providence, plus 4.5. Don't blame him. We talked about that. Look, that's what I'd be on. Shout out to Arthur Me with the dono. My guy. Raymond, what's up? Nikki Fish Tanks. Bob Taylor. Shout out to everyone for joining us. Nuke Worker. Shout out to my guy. Old National, good to see you, my man. Ron Lofton. Hell yeah. Okie. Good shit, my man. All right, Max, let's get out of here. I know we had to give those bets in already. It's just tipping off. Do you have anything else, or is that just it?
Yeah, no, I was going to go with something in the Ole Miss game, but then I got pussyfooted and I couldn't click the button, so I'm not going to give it out if I didn't bet it. Okay,
we mentioned it. We had to give it out a few minutes ago. The Kent State is just tipping off. Kent State, Toledo, over 145.5. I lean strong to this one. I might have it's off the show. I might have a smaller bet on it. St. Peter's plus 4.5. It's a tricky spot, though. Talking with Max has got me freaked out a little bit, but I'm also my other bet, Max, on this card, Tulane, South Florida, under 130. I think it stays under. South Florida at home. It's got to play low scoring to be in the game and keep this one tight. So under 130 there. All right, Max, we got through it. Shout out to everyone in the chat again. Go ahead, Max. Give one last thing for the word for the chat, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, listen, chat. You guys are very good people. You guys definitely don't hurl snowballs at little kids as they try and go to their after-school programs. And, of course, when you dip your chicken tenders, you don't dip them in honey mustard. God bless you all. Hope that the winners are all yours and that we fuck with our eyes open the way that God intended. Otherwise, I don't want to let Gus do what he wants to do, which is staple my eyes shut so I always fuck them closed. I won't let him. We won't let him. Let's get those fucking winners, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Let's get it. He's a great Maxwell Smart. I'm Conor Mack. We're out of here, baby. We be pumping! Peace.